discussing about an introduction to the constitution, one should know about the basic structure of the constitution. What is basic structure? Was it given by the framers of the constitution, or who invented the term called basic structure? What is basic structure? The Constitution of India is supposed to have a basic structure which cannot be altered, but this basic structure was not proposed by the makers of the constitution. Then who introduced this? This was spelt out by the full bench of the Supreme Court of India in 1973 in the majority judgment in the Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala case. The English newspaper Hindu calls it the case that saved Indian democracy. They say that the Keshavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala 1973 Act is the one that saved the Indian democracy. Such an important case, Indian judiciary had only once had the 13 bench full bench, and that was only for the adjudicating the particular case by Keshavananda Bharati. They only evolved, and one of the popular and one of the respected jury, one of the respected advocate, or one of the most respected lawyer of the country called Nani Palkiwala, he was the one who proposed this idea and he articulated, and the entire 13 bench had agreed to the idea of basic structure. It was held that Article 368 does not enable Parliament to alter the basic structure of framework of the constitution. If you look at 368 is the amending power, right. So, with the amending power we can amend, but how long you can amend? What are all the things you can amend? That was the question that posed by this particular 13-member bench. The verdict has strengthened the federal character of the constitution. Within the union structure, we have a federal system of governance. So, that was strengthened through this particular judgment. Constitution of India is then ultimate source of state authority. If you look at the purpose of the constitution, one can argue that Constitution of India is the ultimate source of state authority. It describes how statutes are made. The constitution lays down the legislative procedures. It enumerates the powers of different institutions. As we said, it talks about the three pillars of the democracy called executive, legislature and the judiciary. So, it enumerates the powers of the different institutions, how different institutions can interact with each other, and how equality is to be promoted among all the Indians. So, if we move on to the understanding the functions of the constitution, constitution is a political structure having several functions. It is a politically legal document, and the first major function of the constitution would be expression of ideology. It reflects the ideology and philosophy of the nation state, the aspirations, dreams, and what were the ideas of the freedom fighters, how that was evolved. So, these ideals were being expressed in the constitution. And the second function would be expression of basic law. What are the basic law? Constitution presents the basic laws which could be modified or replaced through a process called extraordinary procedure of amendment. So, it is not a static document, it has to move forward, it has to adapt itself when the time passes, when the new challenges comes, when the new kind of thinking comes from the public, then we have to move forward with the new constitution. And it also talks about the levels of government. Constitution generally explains the levels of government and organs of the government, whether it is federal, confederal or unitary will be described by the constitution. The constitution has the capacity and full authority to describe what kind of governance the country has. As we saw in the earlier slides, that Article 368 has given the rulers to make amendments to the constitution. So, amendment provision is one of the significant functions of the Indian constitution. It contains a set of directions for its own modifications, how the modification has to be done, what can be modified. Apart from the basic structure promulgated by the 13-member judge in the Keshavananda Bharati case, all others can be thought about to modify. The system might collapse in scope and modification. If you do not have the capacity to change yourself, then this document cannot be a time tested one, or there cannot be a one that can be applicable to everyone. So, inherent capacity to change according to changing times and needs help any system to survive and improve. So, that was the strength of the document, and a constitution normally does few things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kinds of people to live together. we have a different kinds of people here, different people with a different ethnic group, language, culture, and many things are here. How do they work together? How do they live together? What kind of trust they have on the country, the document, the constitution? So, the second thing that a constitution does is it specifies how the government will be constituted and who will have the power to take decisions, how the government will be formed, who will take the decision, who will be the governor, what is his role or functions will be, what are the roles of a chief minister. These functions are being defined very clearly in the constitution. So, that is the role of the constitution. If you look at the third aspect of what constitution does, it lays down limits on the powers of the government and tells on what the rights of the citizen are. So, it restricts the powers of government and authorize the citizens, give enormous powers to citizens to elect a government, replace a government, put up a government, or make them amend a new constitution. So, the people, the citizens are the most powerful element in a system of democracy. And the fourth aspect is it expresses the aspirations of the people about creating good society. So, the document will have a clear idea about what kind of aspirations are coming up from the ground, from the grassroots, that is being reflected in the constitution, that makes us to move forward with our own new ideas. And in the concluding speech to the Constituent Assembly, Dr. Ambedkar stated on November 25th, 1949, that was the day that everybody signed. We saw in the early presentation that people have signed and that become the document for adaptation that came into effect on many aspects immediately also. On the 26th day of January 1950, we are going to enter a life of contradictions. In politics, we will have equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. In politics, we will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote and one value. In our social and economic life, we shall have, by reason of our social economic structure, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. How long shall we continue to live this line of contradictions? How long shall we continue to deny equality in our social and economic life? If we continue to deny it for a long time, we will do so only by putting our political democracy in peril. It is a very strong statement by Ambedkar stating that we cannot continue to deny some rights to any group of people, and we need to treat everyone equal, and if we are failed to do that, then it will be at the cost of losing the democracy. That is a very strong statement, but very critical, and which he has seen the life of next 100 and 200 years, and he wanted to make it very clear during the day on which he delivered the last address. Before we conclude the lecture, let us see what the Constitution of India could do during the last 7 decades. So, that will be the apt to end this particular lecture about understanding Constitution. If you look at the Constitution of India, it has been a document, a source of inspiration, and it has been a document that guided us for the last 70 years, and we had a comparatively better life in this subcontinent with our own destiny for our own governments, and we could devise our government based on through elections. So, the Constitution of India provides for periodic elections and thereby ensures democratic transfer of political power from one set of representatives to the other. Over the past 70 years, democracy has deepened further in India. 17 general elections to parliament have been conducted by the Election Commission of India, and more than 300 elections have been conducted to the state legislatures held so far with increased people's participation, and this stands a testimony to the successful working of our democracy. The Indian electors have displayed maturity that was accolades. Successive governments through various legislations and policy interventions have been realizing the dreams of our founding fathers of the Constitution to facilitate an inclusive welfare state to every citizens of the country to have a peaceful life. In this lecture, we have discussed about an introduction to the Constitution of India by looking at the history, what were the context through which we planned and discussed our own Constitution, what Gandhiji had a dream about Indian Constitution, and how that was translated into our document for our own future. And we also discussed about the Constituent Assembly debates, how that was made and how that contributed to prepare a beautiful document for our own country. We also saw about the basic structure of the Constitution, which was proposed by the Supreme Court through its judgment, and how that has been contributed to the strengthening of the federal structure in the country. And we also saw that during the last 7 decades, the constitution was able to give us a beautiful and peaceful life in the Indian subcontinent. I hope that this particular lecture would have given you an understanding about what constitution has been, how this has been evolved, and what ways this has been traveled through the last 70 years. Hope you would have enjoyed this particular lecture. Thank you so much.